Hey everybody, it's Brooks over at MSP Disposal. I wanted to go get this started, so I wanted to do more of a quick, really first quarter recap of what's going on. We have not been pushing a lot of stuff on social media in really the past 3 months, but been really kind of quiet, building a lot of software, but also wanted to give you an update kind of really on what the landscape of the business is looking like, going from this getting a lot of hardware into moving a lot more towards software features and things like that, which you might be seeing if you are a user. So it's just the landscape in general. Last year, we took on a pretty large project, which forced us to really focus on just a few clients. So before then, we got our client base up to around 600 different types of businesses, mainly data centers who used our services for recycling. And that was pretty brutal because we're trying to do that in tandem with building the auction platform, right? So 70, 80, 90-hour work weeks were pretty common for probably about 2 years. And then that opportunity came last year where we said, we're really just going to focus on really our top 15 or top 20 clients. And that's kind of what we're doing now. So you're going to start seeing less of us really talking about what's going on. And you're going to see a lot more focus on the software side. So as far as what we're getting in and receiving, we start getting in multiple truckloads per month of IT data center related gear, mainly only sticking to the data centers, not the small SMB MSP market, which that's a pretty tough market to solve logistically. And we ran it for quite a long time. So with that said, I just kind of wanted to show you two of our main updates that we released in the past 2 months and kind of show you the journey of what we're kind of building and where we kind of see it going on the software side for the next really 6 to 9 months. So with that said, let me just share my screen. All right. So here's the platform. I'm logged in right now, and the first auction platform released in 2023. 2020 and 2023 was all around building software, helping people recycle. So clicking a button, a box shows up to recycle, clicking a button, it gets picked up. Features that most of our brokers or ITADs have never seen any, because they've not released that to the market. It's kind of our bread and butter that we don't talk about. 2023 launched the auction platform, currently sitting with a few thousand active users. Cite that platform there gets hit around 30,000 times right now per month. And it was just around helping really us sell our own product. So when the pricing in 22 dropped dramatically, we had to either A, stop getting stuff in, or B, increase our throughput and constantly find people who paid us more money for a widget. And that platform was built really out of pain and force of just the economics of what our go-to-market strategy was by getting things picked up and paying for freight up front, basically US-wide. So now here we are. We've built the auction platform, lots of traffic, lots of information on who wants what and who sells what. And finally, and a lot of people I talked to, like, folks, why didn't you release we want to buy this, we want to sell this years ago? Well, I think to me, the base was building the auction platform and putting a lot of different types of businesses into that funnel, and then now automating as much as possible on top of that. So a month ago, we released Want to Buy. Want to Buy is simple. You click here, you want to buy something. You can search other want to buys. You can filter by new, used, other. And if you want to add one, you just click here. You type the category, the manufacturer, condition, model. If the model is not in our website, a pop-up will come up and say, hey, do you want to add this model into MSP's platform? If you do that, you just type in the title, which we like to standardize on manufacturer SKU. So Toshiba MG0, whatever that might be, the title. And then beyond that, the description would be the beginning plus 4 terabyte SATA, 7,200 RPM, that type of information. When you do that, you put the quantity that you're looking to buy. You can put the price point if you want to, but you don't have to. And then you click add the want to buy request. What that does is now that emails the entire mass of all of our users. And I definitely have heard and I understand that we send a lot of emails. Obviously, I know, but you can also go in here under preferences, under settings, and you can disable whatever emails you don't want. So if you don't want to be notified on all these categories, just untoggle them. Or if you only want to be notified on want to buys or want to sells, you can toggle that. So that's just a little trick there. Some on the platform posted something pretty degrading, I would say, around like a toy. So now the platform, people can start putting their own stuff on out there, which then hits everybody. So now we're having to put this AI stuff out there on security. So that's going to be rolled out here very shortly, and making sure people just can't talk about, bad things. So that's the what to buy right there in itself. Very self-explanatory. Next feature would be want to sell. So, but before I move on there, let's say someone sees a want to buy, and how do you actually communicate with that person? So I'm just going to click on want to buy, and let's say I want to submit a proposal. So you see this person here wants to buy 32 gigabyte of RAM, and they did not put a price, and they did not put a quantity. So what you could do is submit your proposal or chat, and chat is essentially that. It's just direct messaging. So people are like, oh, can you email me? Can you send me on WhatsApp? But once people start communicating through chat directly through the platform, we're going to be able to build a lot of automation and AI around how you're collaborating. It could be as simple as uploading pictures. That got a request came in 2 days after we released the want to buy, and then we put it and made it live within, I think, 48 hours to where you can upload pics. So imagine the system to where you're starting to chat, and then it eventually turns into an actual transaction. So we start seeing people collaborate. I want this. I want to buy this. I want to sell this. And then it says, hey, do you want to transact this now? So how do you bridge the gap between confidence, things like that, and really y'all knowing that we're not trying to take a large cut of the profit. We're not charging for any of these features right here. We're fortunate enough to have a whole other revenue stream, the true iTab piece, which funds all of this development, which we're not monetizing. We're just basically seeing people trading products in here and there. So that's the process there. So if you submit your proposal, this is where you start talking to that user about whatever it is. I have 50 units of this. Here's a picture of it. Do you want to buy it? Whatever. We're already seeing people try to go direct. We're not locking that down. It's just more about just learning how people are communicating B2B on the platform. Broker Ben's model is a little different. It's around recurring revenue, which is even better. But luckily we have the other revenue stream of the business, which allows us to build stuff like this. So that is the want to buy. So now this week we released want to sell. So if you do that, and when you log in, anything that we do in the platform, we tend to drive traffic immediately to that. So want to sell, this is the same look and feel. You can go out there and look at your requests as well. So that way you're not filtering through all these things, which one have I put out there. You can see if people have through notifications, these people are trying to communicate to you. So you're not having to go bury through all the chats to figure out, do you owe someone, a message back? It's pretty self-explanatory. So want to sell, you click on that, and then there's a sample Excel file, which is pretty common. It's model, SKU, quantity, condition, notes that you just upload and copy paste that into this format. You upload it to the platform. And what that now has really allowed us to do is see which ITADs, brokers, VARs have what type of inventory, but then we can also transact that into an auction. So what that would look like is that we see a want to sell happens, and it might be 500 pieces of this, 600 pieces of that. And now that it's actually transparent to us, we then reach out and say, hey, would you like us to put this on like a reserve at whatever price you want on the platform to sell? And then when we do that, we'll start seeing bid data, and then we can start communicating directly with those data centers or whoever is buying to buy that product to try to get the price point that you want. And only in the event that we actually transact something is when we have to take a cut, because we get charged transaction fees to automate that transaction through Stripe. So, and that's 2.9%, very common with the PayPal. So that being said, that's the want to sell feature right there. In my mind now, we kind of have the full picture of a deal with inside the whole broker market. We have, I want to buy something, I want to sell something. We have the auction platform that can transact that by looking at years of bid data on who might want that. And then we have MSP GBT, which is another piece of this that we've done a poor job of marketing, mainly on the side on how to use it. So you can go out there and say, I want to buy this, and then imagine you do that on eBay. I want to buy this widget, and then it shows all these sellers on eBay, right? And you want to individually communicate with those sellers. Well, that might take, it's a lot of clicks. And we get down to like how many clicks it takes to actually send a message in eBay to someone, which is around 7 typically. Because they ask you, is it about shipping? Is it about this? Choose the item. But this tool right here is a little different. It will then talk to all these eBay stores out there, and then pull in who actually has that product. And then currently you can buy those contacts for $1. Really up in the air. Do we just keep this AI stuff for ourselves and help kind of our sourcing to help you? When you put a want to buy out there, we're like a facilitator, which is helping you behind the scenes. So where you just put it out there, and our machines and software and team is doing it for you by looking at just historical data and automation. So that's kind of what we're thinking about right now. There's a lot of other avenues we could take. We could take to where you could start adding things to your profile to where say, hey, I have this line card of 40 widgets that I am constantly looking for. I need a minimum of X in stock. And anytime you get below a certain stock, or every so many weeks or daily, it reaches out and starts to try to find these things through various APIs, mainly through eBay API. One fascinating basically number and stat that we did when you look at our eBay store, we're sitting at, I think, 500 individual listings on eBay. I think it's close to like $700,000 marketed online, assuming everything sells at full MSRP. Well, if you take just us and you replicate that across the platform, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of IT product that is out there that we can now use some sort of AI to be able to communicate and help our people putting these want to buy requests out there, want to sell, and it sucks in all the information saying this is the person who has that, and it's the ability for you to communicate a lot faster around that. So that said, let me just see if there's anything in the chat. As of now, there's not. It's been 13 minutes. But yeah, that's kind of the landscape of what it looks like for the next 6 to 9 months. We're heavily focused on a few different verticals. Mainly the biggest one right now is a medical HIPAA contract that will generate a lot of laptops, mainly probably 15 to 25,000 laptops per year, but also a lot on the data center side. So still heavy receiving a lot of stuff into South Carolina, but we're splitting it up north in the Midwest around Chicago area. A lot of our business is being driven out of the Midwest right now as well. So, and man, that's very strategic in how well we're doing that. So other than that, I appreciate the time for you watching this right here. Appreciate your patience as we've built this platform for many years. It's not the most, I would say, user-friendly, especially broker-friendly when it comes to the B2B world. But now that we have hit what I think like an inflection point on having with our user count being where it is now it's time to really focus on those relationships because we have the base, a healthy base to be able to do that. So that being said, that's really all I wanted to see. It's been 15 minutes. If you have any questions, concerns, you can drop them in the comments of this video or post on the support ticket and create a support ticket. That's really the fastest way to get in touch with anybody on MSP is the support ticket. And that hits a wide variety of people that can filter who it goes to properly. So that being said, appreciate the time, enjoy your day, and happy selling during this interesting and turbulent time in the supply chain. Yeah, have a good day. Bye.